seemingly ranch. Sorry. So friggin' chapped.
Do we know?
Does anyone know? Ouch, David.
Unleash your inner artist. This isn't going to be a mess to edit for me again, is it?
Absolutely.
Oh, welcome.
at all those balls.
Shut the hell up, man. Welcome to D-Talk. I'm your host, David Zay, and D-Talk is your safe space to get creative, be critical, and embrace your cringe. You see, I really know it this time.
You got it down.
Today on the podcast, we have Amburrr.
Yeah, hi.
Now, Amber's here, and Amber, we've been through it, gal.
Oh, haven't we, though?
This is Take 2, Part 2, the remix. The Hills Have Eyes.
Honey.
Part 2, the remix. So, yes, we're here reunioning this, and we're here to talk about... What are we here to talk about, Amber?
All our quirkiest bits, of course.
Quirky bits. And, like I say, we've been doing quirky bits since your quirky bits were in diapers. And we're here today to share our top 10 quirky bits with, I'm sure, an innumerable amount of honorable mentions.
Oh, yes.
Because it goes back. We've got inside the mind of the rat. We're here to share our quirky bits.
Kids.
Exactly. I don't break teapots, but I do make quirky bits just constantly, right?
The quirky bits are constant.
Yeah, I think it's just, when you don't have your own personality, you just latch on to anything funny you find out into the world.
Yes.
And then you just repeat it into oblivion. It seems to be what we like to do.
I like one of your captions said on your posts, a lobotomy would not help us.
No, it wouldn't affect us.
Yes.
I feel like we wouldn't even notice.
Yes.
We might even feel a little bit better. You like a mom in the 50s, spending all day, making breakfast and doing the laundry and stuff. Yeah.
Just being casual.
Just being super cash, yeah. So yes, without further ado, let's get into our quirky bits with Amber episode here. So glad to have you on the pod.
So glad to be here.
As it were.
Seemingly.
Because whatever the hell nowadays.
It's your job to sort of.
Yeah, I gotta keep a swear counter.
Yes.
I'm up one. And that's even the ones I've noticed. There's probably been more. So yes, so we each have our top 10. So Amber, no, because the children at home,
they don't know.
They might be. And we're here to tell them. We're here to serve.
We gotta educate.
We're here to serve it to you straight with no chaser. And but they might be thinking, who even are you, Amber?
Well, I'm Amber.
It's just, Amber. That's Amber with 3-letter U's.
And also 3 R's at the end.
Yeah, I was like, it doesn't seem like enough. It doesn't seem long. Amber. Yeah. That seems right. Okay, Amber, let's get our origin story together here, gal. When did we... Okay, because supposedly we don't agree on this of when we met. When we first met,
in the beginning.
In the beginning, yeah, we worked at Mark's Work Warehouse.
Sure did.
Can you imagine?
It's been much.
I cannot imagine us working at Mark's Work Warehouse together because, taking you back, the year was 2014, right? 2014, It was January. That's when you started there.
Sure it was.
And I had been there for a handful of months, and I wasn't what you would call a good employee. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's important to the story. I just felt the need to say it. I was always... I don't know if I have dyslexia or whatever, but I remember getting the pages, the markdowns, and it was just a sheet of numbers in small lines, and it was go find this item.
And they had such weird item numbers and combination of letters and numbers and things.
And they all meant different things. And I remember them being ugh, you don't know this? I'm I'm 17. Working, this is a part-time job anyway. It's not
minor things.
Yeah. So when we met, I don't remember my first interaction with you.
I don't know if it's the first one, but the first memorable one I have with you, I remember.
Okay, what was it?
So we were working together before the manager, decided we shouldn't work together. I don't know why that would be. Mm-hmm. But we were behind the front desk, and I don't know if we were if I was trying to do schedules or what I was trying to do, But you came up to me and you're like, hey, do you smoke? And immediately I responded with, smoke what?
And that was the answer.
And that's what started it all.
That's, God, you know what? Because as a child, you make a lot of friends through substance abuse.
Yes,
There's so many people in my life that's how I would start that conversation with. That's not a good sign, Amber. That was a a gift of what's to come, as it were.
Oh, as it were.
And then, then it was just history from there. Because, we got we got along really well. And then we weren't scheduled to work together anymore.
Oh, yes.
Because I don't know if people were snitching and they were like, don't let these two work together because they're idiots. Or if they like watch the cameras.
I think it's probably a mix of both.
Yeah, because we did include other people in our shenanery.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I found the picture. No, because we talked about, I put you in a shopping cart.
Yeah.
In the bathroom. And then I went to get somebody else to be like, go look in the bathroom.
I think it was Julie, wasn't it?
I have no idea. The one that allegedly stole my speaker. That was such a whole thing. It's such a weird story.
And then, like, just how it randomly ended up back at work.
Okay, you know what? I'll say it. Oh, but you already said the name. But no, there was this woman that worked there that allegedly... I forget what why was I convinced it was her? Maybe it's because she was the only person working in the back room when it went missing. Maybe that's what it was. And then everybody was convinced it was her that stole it. And then the assistant manager at the time was like, this is so weird. I don't know if I've even said this to you before, but the assistant manager at the time had me in her office. You know, the one with the mullet.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Hope you still got a mullet, girl. And she was like, so I can't really like tell you, but this is her address. And she was like, if you say that there's tracking on the speaker, you can like tell her own address and like make her think that you've located it at her house, and then maybe she'll bring it back.
Wow.
And I did exactly that, and then it just showed up, and then the speaker was back. Anyway, I literally still have that speaker. It's somewhere in this house right now.
Yes.
What a weird time.
I was just thinking, you know what a real plot twist would be with that story?
What?
If the assistant manager had...
I never even considered.
Yeah. Because that's what made me think, why would that like specific thing...
That'd be smart.
Right?
That'd be so smart. I kind of love
that.
that.
Tracks.
Work, girl. Yeah. You come on, liar.
Come
okay.
on, Miss Sickman.
I don't see you out here walking children in nature.
Nature.
Okay. Yeah. Come on, chin strap. We're stepping on our quirky bits here a bit already. Yeah. And then because I lived super close, and then we were just always hanging out and like doing the most. Yeah. Because I lived close to where we worked, and then you lived close to where we went to school.
Yes.
So we just had locations everywhere we went, which was great. Yeah, I remember ping ponging just anyway.
Do you also remember what we used to call blazing?
What?
No, do you remember blazing?
Yeah, like the word.
Yeah. That's one I forgot about and just recently remembered, and I'm like, ooh.
I did. I was just with the friend who used that in quite an earnest way, and I was like, huh. That sounds very like archaic. Cheugy would be the word even.
Cheugy?
Yeah. Do you know that word cheugy?
Do not.
Cheugy. Something cheugy. It's an adjective used to describe something that's like cringy, but probably done by like a millennial or a boomer. Okay. So like your mom posting on Facebook about like her dog in a sweater. That's cheugy.
Cheugy vibes.
Right? I'm trying to think of a cheugy article of clothing. What's something that like older people, not necessarily older people, but like millennials would wear? What's like a millennial piece of clothing?
Like a vest.
That's so funny that you say that. Haley loves vests. Get roasted, Haley. Yeah, okay. Vests can be chuggy, I'm sure. Yeah, there's more. I'm just forget. Like Crocs. Crocs would be chuggy
Crocs.
for sure. Unless they were Schrocks. Those aren't
Ooh.
chuggy. I remember I had a kid in my grade 4 classroom maybe 2 years ago, and they had a T-shirt that said "Live, Laugh, Chuggy." And I laughed when I first saw them, and I was like, "Girl, do you know what that means?" And she's like, "No, my mom didn't either. She just bought it." I'm like, "That's bold,
Right?
to buy your child a shirt with a word that you didn't know what it was." And then I was explaining what chuggy meant, and then the children were like, "Oh, so you mean like you?" I'm like,
Wow.
yeah.
Called out.
Well, because I would be kind of chuggy to them. Yeah, kids are wild. Anyway, so yeah, and then we just remained friends throughout all of our university years.
Sure
Because
did.
when we met, I was in grade 12.
Yeah, you hadn't even graduated yet.
No, that would have been that summer. And then, yeah, then it just from there. And then we started going hiking
Yes.
and just doing the most. That's what we say. We're
Honestly.
out here doing all this other stuff. We're doing the most. I don't remember like the first time we stayed in a hotel together. Do you? Or what it was for?
I think it was Does Size Matter the first part.
Really?
I think so.
No. I guess, yeah, because why else would we have gone anywhere other than to like hike? And that would have been a day trip.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that was only last year. Wow. I mean, okay, how would you explain to the children at home what does size matter is?
Oh man, that's a whole other podcast.
Let's give them a taste though. How would you explain does size matter?
So it's two quirky girls just going out and finding quirky things and trying to solve the question of does size truly matter?
And the jury's still out on that. Yeah, we've
Sure
hit
is.
we've hit many, and right, because like roadside attractions, I guess, would be
Yes.
what we've been going out to see, and like filming at all the locations. And I think we've probably filmed at 100 things so far.
I think, yeah.
Because we were in like high 70s after our second trip, and then adding together our first one and all those other ones, because we did like the wind gauge, we did the
Yeah.
high level bridge, and like the Pinto
teepee.
Bean and the Medicine Hat trip that time. And then all of Alberta the first time. We're probably at 100.
Yeah.
But at this point, there's probably only like 40 published online, because you know how long it takes to edit together all those videos? But they're coming to you.
So good.
So yeah, follow me on the TikTok at David_they and at Instagram at David.they. Couldn't get the same thing.
That's tough. That's tough.
God.
This happens a lot.
So yeah, and then we just, we're out here doing the most, and now
As it were.
I live in Calgary, and you're still down there in Lethbridge.
Where everything is beige.
Where, Vivid beige.
Vivid beige.
That's-
like screaming beige.
That's the name of a store downtown here. Vivid beige.
beige.
Not that dissimilar to a shimmer nude.
Oh, I love a good shimmer nude.
I'm always saying that.
Everyone does say.
So here today we're going to talk about our quirky bits, but before we get into that, let's have a message from our sponsor. And our sponsor is me, girl. I'm out here doing all this other stuff, so click all the buttons, like, comment, subscribe, eject, anything you possibly can. Send this to a friend. They don't even have to look at it or open it. You should see my unanswered messages in my phone right now.
Left on red for
It doesn't-
days.
Too real. God. I'm sorry. I'm not ignoring you. I'm ignoring everybody. Like, I work on all my devices. Anyway, that's not the point. Amber.
Dip bed. Why is it so hazy in here?
Shut the fuck up. And okay, that was way too loud and gay. I'm always saying that.
Everyone does truly say.
And we're back. Thank you,
Hello.
past me. So now we're going to get into our quirky bits. We've been doing quirky bits since your bits were in diapers, and we didn't invent it, but we might have invented... What's it? I'm not going to say that. But we might have invented echolalia. Have I said that word to you before?
No, but I like it.
Yeah, echolalia is like repeating the same words or phrases over and over.
Oh, that's 100% us.
Yeah, it's what, and right, like the echo is for the echo.
Echolalia? Is that
Oh
how you say
no,
it?
we've awoken the beast.
Oh, shit.
Nothing. Thank you.
Go to sleep now.
Shut up.
If you start farting, I'll be so freaking
Oh my God,
pissed.
that's so funny. Yeah, if you have an Alexa, and maybe we'll try and trigger an Alexa in your home right now. Alexa, play fart noises. I saw a video and somebody whispered that. And then, because if you whisper to it, it whispers back.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it was like, I heard that you were whispering. So next time when you whisper, I'll whisper back.
Sensual.
It really was. Here's a fart sound. Okay. Well, Amber, I think
David.
I'm going to get here to my quirky bit. Oh, because I do have podcast notes for us. I should have looked at them before we started filming. Yeah. But I have my quirky bits. Okay.
I also have quirky bits.
Yeah, don't look at my screen. Don't look at my screen. Oh. Okay. So, I think I'm ready for your first quirky bit, Amber.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah, you have more than I do, I think. I'm ready.
All right. Well, since we started off with our origin story, I'll start off with an origin one.
Okay.
So this one is Francine loves caramels.
It's just...
So this one comes from Orange is the New Black, which is really a part of our origin story. Because I remember getting off work and coming to your mom's house and just going straight for the basement, and that's what we would turn on.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was that and American Horror Story.
That was the phase.
Yes.
And like, I want to argue with you about Orange is the New Black, but when I think about all of our quirky bits that come from that TV show, like, there's so many.
There is.
Like, what are they? They're not anymore. I'm not stepping on your list anymore if I go with Orange is the New
No,
Black.
that's the only one.
But there's so many. Chocolate and vanilla.
Earl.
And then I hate
Papaya.
And the moon.
The moon.
Oh, look.
My eggs.
There's so many. Yeah, I feel like I'm forgetting some. Is there anything else there? But yeah.
Isn't That's Tough from there?
No, that's actually from Trixie.
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure other people have put the two words "that's tough" together before, but in that tone of like, "That's tough."
That's tough.
Yeah, that's Trixie. Okay, that's good.
And yeah, what else have I got here?
And-
Oh yeah, so because what's the word? Echolalia?
Yeah.
Because we have echolalia, we repeated that so many times that David's mother gifted me a box of caramels for Christmas one year because she heard us saying that so much.
It was an open concept house. And if we're screaming that back and forth at each other for hours on end, and then, yeah, we got to give Amber the caramels.
And I mean, I do love a good caramel.
Yeah.
Who doesn't really?
I mean, not in like a weird way.
No,
but,
no.
like, what are you doing with those caramels?
Wouldn't you like to know?
No, I wouldn't. I know too much. Okay. Okay. Here's my first quirky bit for you.
Yes.
Now, I really feel like you might have this on your list. So this is my number one. It's not a new one, but we've kind of rediscovered it as a new one. Maybe I'll even say the line before that happens. Mom, please tell me you have your pills. Oh, Deborah, unclutch.
Yes.
Oh, Deborah,
yes.
unclutch. It's just, you have to have like the wet sounding CL sound in there. Oh, Deborah, unclutch. So that is from the movie Tammy, which is also so many. Anything Melissa McCarthy,
Very
too.
good.
We've heavily participated in. But that's, what's the name of that actress? Susan Sarandon?
Yeah.
She's in Tammy, and she has like diabetes in this, and she's like drinking alcohol and getting high and stuff, and it's not good. And her daughter's like, please take your medication. It's, oh, Deborah, unclutch. So anytime anybody in your life is ever being overbearing or worrying too much, just, unclutch.
Unclutch.
But sometimes it does help to unclutch.
It really does.
Sometimes they're clutched on too hard.
And you really just gotta unclutch.
Come on, clutch.
Come on, Miss Sickman.
Come in, clutch.
Oh.
That was a thing, wasn't it? Come in, clutch. Coming in, clutch.
Coming in clutch?
That was a thing people said.
I have never heard of it.
No, I feel like that is when we were younger. Informal, to be very useful or helpful, especially in a difficult or important situation.
Coming in clutch?
I hoped that my beginner's luck would come in clutch. Come in handy. Yeah, I remember people saying this like around 2014, 15.
I do not remember that.
Come in clutch. Come on, clutch.
Come
No,
on,
that's the
clutch.
gay version. It was come on, clutch. But yeah, maybe I remember that from Spencer's because I used to work in Spencer's Gifts.
I remember the smell of that store specifically.
Oh my God.
Awful.
Remember the first week I was working there, I had such bad migraines and I thought I was going to have to quit because not only the sound was, or the light, it's my seventh sense. No, not only was the smell so strong, is that the lighting of everything, because there were all those like little fixtures and bulbs and whirly bits and
Yes.
plasma balls and lava lamps and the little laser things and disco balls. It just was...
It was a sensory overload.
It really was, yeah. Anyway, and then people would steal sex toys. I remember one day at the Galaxy like movie theater entrance, somebody got caught stealing, and there was like a huge... There's no other better word to say this.
A huge object.
A huge thing. Like, I don't know, 13 inches and like unreasonably like large and thick, right? And I'm pretty sure the color, it was like black silicone or something.
Oh my
And
God,
it was like one
yes.
of those jiggly ones and not like a solid one. And I remember it just because there was that kerfuffle with security, it was just laying there.
Yeah.
And then that picture traveled like wildfire through all of the like group chats of the employees there. So funny. All right. So yes, oh Deborah, unclutch, coming in clutch. We learned that now.
We did.
Come in clutch. Kind of the opposite though. So yeah, that's my number one quirky bit. I love that one.
Yes.
And we went back to rewatch that 3-second sequence several many times.
So good.
Somebody lied to her several
times.
Again, honorable mention.
Oh, of
Okay,
course.
I'm ready, girl.
What do we got next? Real classic that we said a whole bunch. Julienne turds.
I suddenly have to go, even though this is my own house. Not Julienne turds.
Did you Julienne these turds?
Who Julienne these turds?
So this one
Finger slices.
comes from two great queens, Trixie and Katya, because that's where I remember it from.
Mm-hmm.
And but I do have one particular moment that I absolutely love with this phrase.
I think I know where this is going, but give it to me right now, yeah.
So we do a lot of shenanigans in the summertime. And so at one point, David phones me up and he's like, hey, do you want to paint and stain my deck and fence?
I don't even think I said the deck to you. I just tricked you. I was like, because that's going to sound too overwhelming. Like, also, let's do this.
And we did the
You help now.
You help now. I
Anyway,
forgot about that.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Anyways, I don't mean to step on your
I forgot
turds.
about the flower box thing we painted too.
Oh my God. And like, I just remember it being like 35 degrees out.
It was hot.
And like the sweat dripping down my everything, essentially. And like I was starting to not being able to see because it was like dripping into my eyes.
Yeah.
And I was just like in a little Speedo because we were in and
Yes.
out of the pool the whole day to cool down on the Timbit floaty.
I forgot about the Timbit floaty.
Man.
But I remember, so like I would be at one end of the backyard and you would be at the other end,
It's
and
a
we
big
would just
backyard.
scream Julienne turds back and forth at each other for the whole afternoon.
And we were like delirious because of the heat too. We were
Oh,
at that
yeah.
for like 10 hours or something
It
crazy.
was a whole day event.
Did we finish it in one go?
No, I think it was 2 or 3 rounds
Oh, really?
because we had to do the front and the back, and then we had to do the in betwixt, like the crevices.
Yeah, that took a long time. And then I remember on the last day, there was like half of the bottom of the deck was still to do. And I did that after you left, and then it was done.
Yes.
And then it was so good. It felt so good to be done that. Put in so much effort and time. Oh my gosh. And then when I was at Home Depot and dropped one of the things of stain.
Yes.
That was insane. You can still see that stain in the Home Depot in Lethbridge, Alberta.
You have left your mark.
because I was attempting to reach it, and I'm not a particularly tall person, and there were like 3 employees just chatting with each other about 10 feet away, watching me struggle grabbing this can. And then I dropped it, and it went everywhere. The shoes went in the garbage.
Yes.
There was nothing. I've had to throw out a lot of shoes recently. What does that say about me?
What in the hell?
Things just keep happening. I do still have the socks that happened in, though.
Oh my God,
and there's
yes.
like really faint red stains. It does kind of look like blood. But yeah.
Yeah, my old bra that I used to wear when we were doing that has like big stains all over the straps, and I'm like,
Not the brassiere.
The
That
brassiere.
is so funny. That, yeah. Who Julienne these turds? The neighbors probably thought we were parrots.
oh, I hope they were so annoyed. Especially the ones with the dogs.
I mean, I didn't want to say it. They're probably not watching it, but you got too many dogs, girl. Okay, that's the end of that.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, Julienne turds. Little finger slices.
Oh, yeah.
Julienne.
David, do you Julienne your turds?
Nope, never have. How? What on earth gave you the confidence to say that? Okay, my number second.
Yes.
My second one is, and we've talked about this one ad nauseum in our previous one, Take Two. Because we've already filmed this. Did I say that?
You did.
Did I say? Yeah, we already filmed this. The sound quality was horrendous. So here we're here reunioning this.
Oh, yeah.
Here's my second one. Put the clips in the glove box.
Yes, my fave.
Yes. And you really got to hit people over the head with jokes sometimes.
Oh,
I don't
yes.
care if you've heard this one before. We're still going to say it. Is that, yeah, my mom's friend came to her house for her birthday one year with her husband. And I had a TV stand in my room that I no longer wanted. And there was a glass shelf in the middle of the TV stand. And there were some clips, as it were, that were holding the glass shelf up, and they're like moving it down the stairs, and then the glass shelf like fell down, and then the clips were out, right? And they're like holding the clips, and then her husband goes, put the clips in the glove box.
Yes.
And I just have that on video because I just always have it. I always have things recording.
Yes.
I'm always taking a video. But it's because moments like that happen, and then they're just so meaningful, and I just love it so much. I take so many photos of myself a day.
Yeah.
I just talked about this with Georgia on our podcast. And like I take so many pictures. But when I average it together, you're a big part of this.
Oh,
is when I'm
yes.
like, I take at least 10 pictures of myself every day. It's averaging because on some days you and I go out and there's literally over 1,000 photos of me.
Thousands.
Crazy. Some days I type in and it's like 80 photos. Because every morning when I wake up, I'll search like November 19th and look at all of the November 19th from all the year in the past. That's what that chipmunk version of me when I was like 12 that I showed you this morning was on this day like 15 years ago or whatever. And when I type in those days, usually there's like 80 things. Mm-hmm. Some of those, when it's like you and I that went out, is like 1,500. Like, oh my God, I remember this day.
But I mean, we do the most.
Right? And I always get confused because I'm like, David, how have you had 6 outfits on in this day already? And they all look separate. And because you're like moving throughout the day, the hair ends up looking different. And like, even down to the jewelry, it's all different.
I remember your jewelry box.
Oh, but that's kind of stepping out. Does size matter? But not even. That was even before we did that.
Yeah, yeah.
We love some. Oh yeah, we call them HGP.
We do.
What does that stand for, Amber?
Hot girl pics.
Yeah, we need some hot girl pics. Make sure you get the mountain in the pic. Is the pinto bean tall enough? Can you see
From
my
the
feet
northwest.
from the northwest? Yeah. Anyway, God, sorry to scream in your ears there.
Your little ear piggies.
That's an honorable mention. Wait. Oh, I just ruined my next one.
Oh no.
Okay, you go next.
Oh, yeah. One of my absolute faves.
I'm gonna hate it, aren't I?
So friggin' pissed.
Oh my gosh, it does work. How would you explain that story? Because I don't want to.
So one summer day we're hanging out, and David had decided to like kind of power wash your driveway.
It's very satisfying.
It is.
Took a long time.
Very satisfying to watch.
Very dirty.
And so, as per usual, when we're hanging out, we usually order some skip the dishes McDonald's, as it were.
I'd love to argue with you, but the bag is on the other side of this wall from last night, so I can't even, but whatever.
So it was me who ordered it, so I had, the little tracker thing on my phone. And I was getting close to being delivered, and so I went upstairs.
And I wasn't parked on the driveway because
you weren't.
I wanted to keep my driveway clean while it dried, so I didn't pull up as it was drying. That's important.
Yes. So I'm like standing there waiting at the door, just like looking through the peephole, anxiously anticipating. And from downstairs, I hear, if that man parks on my driveway, I'll be so friggin' pissed.
Because it's not like it was his place to come and dirty up my driveway with his rank ass wheels. God, I swore again. Damn it. Yeah, and you really glommed onto that.
I love it
and
so
here
much.
we are many years later. I don't know if I've ever said it like that before. Or if it came from something. I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I'm so friggin' pissed. It just works. It rolls right off the tongue.
Actually, so friggin' anything.
So friggin' anything.
Yeah.
I see it behind those eyes. Yeah. Gornt right there.
Geert.
Sounds like nothing.
Oh, I know what it sounds like.
No, you don't. Okay. My next one here is nose piggies. We gotta get into the
nose
piggies. So take us back. I don't know, 2018? We were sitting in my mom's SUV. I don't remember why we were in my mom's car, but I remember that very specifically.
I don't remember why we took... Oh, because I think it was an IKEA trip and we had to load stuff.
Oh, okay. And we're sitting there, and I was... we're sitting in the Chinook Mall parking lot at, like, the very front with all the windows open on a nice spring or summer day. And there's people all around walking, as you do, because it's a shopping center. And I'm blowing my nose, and you go, just gotta clear your nose, piggies. And because what was it? The Sweetest Little Piggies? No, that's the Sweetest Little Chicken, an honorable mention, but not what we're mentioning at the moment.
Little piggies.
But what was the original piggies? Just my piggies?
Just your piggies.
Just like this little piggy went to wherever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that was the reference, and then gotta clear your nose, piggies, and then everything became the piggies.
Everything is a piggy.
Your finger piggy.
Your
nose
ear piggies.
Eye piggies.
Mouth piggies.
That sounds so bad.
Just everything's a piggy.
Hate that for us. And I just remember screaming so loud and like hitting you. You know, the joke's good when I'm like assaulting you. But that even happened last night. I wanted to shove you into the road. Do you remember what you said?
Several times. What did I say?
There was one really good one.
Oh, so there was one, the first give us a kiss. You were going to shove me into...
I hate that. That better not be on your list.
It is not.
Okay, good.
And
Give us a kiss.
What was I saying? We were walking to the club. What was I saying?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
It might come back later. All right. Nose piggies was my third one. Yes. And then I have my one left here.
I've got 1, 2, 3.
Okay. What do you got going?
All right. So this one. So speaking of like hitting me and assaulting me, this one caused that kind of a reaction.
Were we driving?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
In like Minnesota.
North Dakota, I think.
Oh, yeah. I just say Minnesota for anything. Yeah.
Wherever the hell in America. So this was our Does Size Matter Part 2, the remix trip. And we were driving along, in the middle of nowhere. And I was driving at the time, and David was supposed to be the navigator. But he kind of forgot to navigate, and we missed a turn. And so we were almost running out of gas.
I don't remember that
You
part.
don't remember that?
Like, I don't disbelieve you, because I know I fucked up. I know I messed up the directions, like, every time, basically. I don't know what it was, and I literally kept making mistakes constantly.
I remember looking at you at one point and being like, you're fired as a passenger princess.
God. Anyway, not the point.
So I remember we were like just about running out of gas. So we get to this like middle of nowhere little dinky town in Minnesota or North Dakota where we were. And there's like a tiny little gas station with 2 pumps, not marked on what's in the pumps. So we pull up, and I remember you couldn't get the pump to work. And so you had to go in,
so many things.
talk to the like child that was working there.
Yeah, because I walked in and I was like, hi, I can't get this pump to work. And I was already annoyed because it wasn't a shell. And I love a shell.
We love a good shell.
Exactly. And the child, I looked like they were working, but I just assumed. And so they were like fumbling with the things, trying to get it to work. And then the mom walked over and she's like, wow, you did it. Good job. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Anyway, came back out.
And then you ended up buying that man like $7 worth of gas.
Because the guy on the other side, because the girl put it in wrong, and then I pay for his gas. No, we pay for his gas because I was so annoyed that I put that $7 in the split wise. So like that is for both of us, girl.
Yes.
And that was $7 American. So that was like 11 Canadian.
Thievery.
Yeah. So then I went back in to repay for more gas on the correct side. And then I came back out and couldn't get the latch up, or didn't know you had to flip the...
Like the flip, it was an old school flippy pump.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we got the gas in the vehicle, and then as we're filling up, you're like, I don't know if this is actually gas or diesel.
It wasn't marked.
It had no label on it. You didn't know.
Diesel.
So as we pull away, and as we're driving away, I make the joke of, hey, we should phone your mechanic and go, hey, what goes into my car? And then the answer is diesel.
What goes into my car? Probably diesel. And then that goes back even farther, because if you've been watching my performances online, you will know that there's a monologue that I performed that is of somebody getting into a fight with a McDonald's manager over a Caesar salad. And she gets the salad and it has what? Apples and frickin' raisins in it. And she phones and goes, hey, what goes into Caesar salad? Because you know what? I just got my free one and there's frickin' apples and raisins in it. She's like, oh my God, we understand, blah, blah, blah. So she said, the next time you come, I'll give you another free salad and a dinner. So I said, all right. I think that's a perfect date. I think that's a perfect place to take a break.
Oh, I think.
We'll be right back.
Bye.
All right, and welcome back to Deed Talk, your safe space to get creative, be critical, and embrace your cringe. And today we're embracing all of the cringe here with our quirky bits with my special guest, Amburrr.
Yeah, hi.
So yes, thank you for joining us. And we're going to continue here with our quirky bits. Amburrr, I think you should start us off.
With my last golden one.
You got one last nugget.
I got one last noogie.
Okay, I'm ready. Take me away, quirky bits.
So we got spaghetti and sauce.
Oh, God, again, it's those moments where people don't think they're being funny, where it's the most iconic thing that can possibly happen. Okay, how would you explain that, Amber?
So it was a video you showed me of your family's Christmas, and it was your cousin, and he was going around and filming the whole gift exchange moment. And he had to have his own monologue or like narrative to go with it. And so I think it was your aunt was opening up a package and it happened to be spaghetti and sauce. And just the way he like you have to disengage your like larynx to like say sauce.
Disengage your larynx, folks. You heard it here first.
That's what you gotta do. Yeah. He just was like, oh my God, spaghetti and sauce.
Very that, yeah. And he would have no idea that we still say that to this day because of him.
Right.
It's all of those silly moments. Yeah.
Moments.
And, okay, because then when we would talk on the phone, when we would video chat, we would have an outro.
Oh, yes.
And this was really full of quirky bits. And we'll have to edit them here for any inappropriate ones. Because this isn't a family program, but I don't know if it's rated E for explicit or not. I don't really know how that works. But I think I've only sworn twice or 3 times so far, so I think we're doing pretty good. But yeah, we would have an outro where we would bark our quirky bits back and forth at each other until one of us couldn't remember, and then that would end the call.
It would.
Right there.
But now we have so many that we cannot do
We just
that.
get lost in it. It's hard. But now I want to try it.
Right?
Okay, so I would start with dive on in.
You're pumping oil, son.
Kapkunka.
Tits to the wind.
See, but you can't say that.
Oh, I can't say tits.
I don't. No, I don't think you could say tits. Tits are illegal here. Yeah, get them out of here. Okay.
Sorry, they're attached.
Okay. Yeah, they're not like mine sitting over there in the drawer. No. We're gonna start again, Amber. Take 2. Just gotta use your meninges.
Can I use the word breast?
You're really selling a specific brand here, aren't you? Yeah, because you want to say breast augmentation.
I sure do.
That's the next thing. I think breast is better, and I don't think you could say breasts to the wind.
No, that doesn't have the same
That one's
ring.
hard. Okay. So I would start with dive on in.
You're pumping oil, son.
Kapkun ka.
All of those are inappropriate.
Are they really? Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Are they all inappropriate?
Spaghetti and sauce.
All right, so we're going to take one last break here, and when we come back, we're going to leave these quirky bits behind.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
We're going to get deep here on the pod.
We're going to go dive
together.
on in, if
We're
you
going
will.
to dive on into the deep here with Amber. Deep thoughts here on D-Talk with Amber.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Bye.
Welcome back. Here we are. Thank you, Amber, for being here on this lovely podcast.
Thank you for inviting me, David.
Oh, of course, anytime. Now, something I like to do with my guests here at the end of the episode is I want to get deep. You know, we're going to have deep talks here with Amber on D-Talk. Now, I do have a few things I think that I want to say and kind of drive it, but I'm really interested to see kind of how you answer my following question, because it's kind of open-ended.
Okay.
And we've talked, we've been deep many times.
Oh, yes.
Hate that sentence. But and you know, like, you connect with people too when they have like similar thoughts as you and like ways of looking at the world. And while we do have a lot of dissimilarities,
oh yes,
we do, there are a lot of things that align for us. And what I want to know is, how long have you been julienning your turds?
That's private.
I know, it really is. No. If you haven't listened to the earlier part of the episode, or if you don't remember that, if you were peeing at that moment, that's a weird joke to have in a cold open. But,
that is.
the question that I want to ask you is, what is a piece of advice that you would give either to your younger self or like just somebody in the world who's like starting out? So like a fresh high school graduate or like a first year university kid.
Oh, dang.
Like, what's something that you think is important for people to keep in mind or to know as they broach your old age?
Ooh, okay. So you know how like society portrays that like by 30 you should have like a really good job, like a house, and like kids, marriage if you want, or like you should just be really successful and established by your 30s.
Mm-hmm.
But like, no, that is not the truth. That is not a reality.
Right?
Like, it's a very fictionalized concept.
Why do you think that's like projected onto people? Like, what's the point of that?
I wonder if it's almost like a, not a hustle, but like getting people to spend more. But I wonder if it's just like a thing to like get people to like, you know, spend more and like put more into the economy and whatnot. Because, you know, there's all that's like, not that self-help doesn't work, but there is like a lot of like scams and things for that. And like, you know, if you even think about like tuition and going to post-secondary, like that's expensive.
Everything's expensive. But yeah, everything is kind of is a hustle, like to get you to join the capitalism machine.
Yeah. And
right?
I absolutely hate it.
It is. And like, what's the line? I always think about that. Like, what's the line between not liking capitalism and being forced to play by its rules too, right?
Right.
Like leveraging what you have to get what you want. And that is still like very capitalistic.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's hard too, right? Because then if you're like in your late 20s, like I am, right, with that conception built in your brain from society of thinking, here's the things that I should have done by now, then that gap makes you feel really anxious and like you're not achieving enough.
Yes. And like, I guess the the definition of success, because that's what like society would deem successful. But I think being successful is like whatever makes you happy and can keep you like subsisting.
Right? Because it's like the societal idea of success is from the outside, like on paper, right? Like they own a house, they have the job, the marriage license is there, and like there's children.
They got the children.
Right? But then the actual version of success that maybe matters more than what's on paper is what's actually going on in your brain. Like,
and it's different for everyone. Not everybody's success is going to be the same as yours. That was a big one for me.
It's yeah, it's so hard because then like, what do you mean? Why was that a hard one? Explain that.
Well, because like just again, societal implications, like so like going to post-secondary and then getting a degree, and then like you're supposed to get a job with that degree, and then like just keep climbing that ladder and getting yourself there. And if you don't do that, then it's looked on as kind of a failure. But like, as long as you're still, you know, able to live and support yourself and do what you want to do, I don't think you're really failing if that's not what you're doing.
And were there people around you that were doing that?
Yeah, like Allie, she got her degree and she got a job with it.
Yeah, and then it's kind of hard to compare yourself to those people if that's not what you're doing.
Right. And then like working, like the job that I do work, like not that I don't really like it, like I do like it, but it is in an establishment where people's, like if they see somebody 30 and older working in that environment, they're like, what did they do wrong in their lives? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then on like the opposite side, were there people around you who like did not meet the level of like perceived success as you?
What do you mean?
Like I always get lost in the comparison, right? And I think our brains are built to compare between what is going on with you and everything else in the world, because yeah, there's people in my life too that I look at that have this like higher level of perceived success, and I'm like, oh man, like if only I could do that, or if I had that experience and that, and then it kind of leads to personal dissatisfaction. And if like I pay attention to that feeling a lot too and work through it so it happens less, or maybe it doesn't happen less, but I react to it in a less meaningful way, because it always happens. But then sometimes I get lost at looking at people on the other end of the spectrum who I perceive to be more successful as.
Yeah.
And then almost using that part as motivation.
Ooh, yes.
And I don't like that. I don't like doing that. But it's like the same reason that we love to sit down and watch like the 1,000-Pound Sisters. Because yes, we stuffed our faces with McDonald's, but at least it's not that bad.
Yes.
Right?
And yeah, like you say, I do hate doing that, but it is so, like in that moment, you're like, oh, this makes me feel so much better.
Right? It's like a comforting thing. But then I think the problem is if you're comparing yourself to who you think is lower than you, you automatically are also comparing yourself to those who are higher than you. Yes. So then it's like that dynamic, like, oh, at least I'm not as bad as that, but
I'm also
if
not
only
here.
I was that. Yeah, and it's just that cycle, and it does not lead to happiness.
No.
It's hard to get out of.
But once you do, it's pretty great because you're like, whatever.
But do you think you're ever fully out of it?
I don't think.
Like, I'm farther than I was, but sometimes I'm still like, David, what are you thinking right now? This is ridiculous. God. Yeah. Yeah, there's a Gaga quote, if you surveyed the way we acted. And that doesn't make any sense. Never mind. It does for me, but I don't know if I can explain that. Oh, so good. But yeah, like it's your perspective on how you get older and how you can view things differently.
Yes.
So something that I studied a bit, or something that I remember from some of my neuro courses, is that like the experts see differently than novices. Right? So like if you give two people, I said this exact same thing with the Georgia podcast, but I just love sharing it, and you have to beat people over the head with what you want them to know.
Oh, yes.
But experts see differently than novices. So if you sat two people down and they had two different backgrounds and ways of thinking, if you give them a puzzle and you're giving them a brain scan while they're attempting that puzzle, different parts of their brain would be lit up because they would be employing different past skills in order to solve the task at hand. And it's true across everything. Like, even yesterday, me doing my makeup in front of you, if I had handed you the brushes and said, all right, paint your face, girl, you just wouldn't have the same parts of your brain lighting up, because it would be like your experimental parts and like just like trying to think and figure things out for the first time, instead of me where I can like see all the steps in line of what I have to do. And that's really fascinating to me, because I always think about that when people are like, I wish I could do that. Like, you can.
You just got to try. You got to start.
You have to put the effort in, and you have to be the crazy looking one for a while as you're making all these mistakes. You
have to be willing to flounder, if you will.
Yeah, I wanted to say that yesterday to the lady at the drag show. So we went to a drag show yesterday, and I painted my face up something fierce. She looked good.
Very good.
And even for me, I was like, that's one of the best eyes I've ever painted. So I was really happy with that. The shape was perfect. They were very symmetrical. All the 10s across the board. And a lady behind me was like, oh, your makeup is so nice. And she was lovely. And then as I turned around after I said thank you, she said, oh, I wish I could do that. If only I could do that. And like a bunch of those comments. And if it wasn't so incredibly loud in there,
oh yeah,
I didn't want to lose my voice by like yelling this at her. But I just wanted to say, like, you can practice. Because nobody sees, like, nobody's publishing the monsters.
No.
I am, though. I am. I have many videos on, like, my Instagram and TikTok where I look at my past ones and, like...
You're like, oof.
But you have to. And a huge reason of why I became comfortable and why I was practicing that is because while I was teaching, I was modeling that for my students.
Yeah.
And then in those moments where I was like, no practice, only good, I was like, wait a minute, I've been saying something to these little humans. Perhaps I should practice it myself.
Yes.
And it is. I feel that right now with wigs. I'm just styling these wigs. I'm like, James Mansfield, you're doing me dirty on these wig tutorials on YouTube. But no, it's me. And like, even just like the little pieces that you pick up from different places to build your skills. It's so interesting.
And it's neat to see the growth, like from where you start and then like to where you get, where you feel like you're an expert at it or professional.
You are always talking about growth.
I love a good growth.
You said that many times, even today.
Yes.
And like to see the difference and to go back and to document everything. So even if you're on a journey of learning something, like take pictures of it, like save those earlier things so you can go back and compare, because you should only be comparing to yourself.
Yes.
Oh, that's cute.
That's deep.
I know, because we're here to get deep with Amber here on D-Talk. My example, I have a really weird one. I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before, but don't stop me. I'm gonna have to stop saying that. I'm gonna have to just go right into the story, even if they've heard it a million times, because this is what? A personality brand. There's no fan there. There's no water in this tub. Okay.
Get on up out the tub.
Honorable mention, but we're getting deep now, Amber. Deep in the tub.
Deep in the tub.
Deep in the cooler.
In the cooler.
God, this is so chaotic. My example of experts seeing differently than novices, I have such a specific memory when I was like 6 or 7 and I was attempting to make, I don't know, like brownies or like a chocolate cake or something. I was obese, you get it. And I was in the kitchen reading the instructions on whatever, and it said to grease and flour the pan before you put in your batter and put it into the oven, right? Or maybe it was butter and flour the pan. And it had like a picture, and it was like melted butter just like all over the pan and then lightly floured over top. And my God, because I just was lamenting over all of the steps of this, and it took me like 30 minutes to get this together. It was only the pan. And I thought, this can't be the way. But I had never even considered like an alternative. Yeah. And then I remember my mom walking by and just being like, oh, babe, like there's this thing called Pam. And you spray it. Takes 3 seconds. Yeah. That's what this is. That's what this is. And I remember being so annoyed. Being like, oh God, that took a lot of time.
All that effort.
But it is like, if you don't know it, if you haven't seen it, you can't think in that way. So whenever something, like Judge Judy says, if something...
Whatever the hell.
Because my brain went, I had a Judge Judy quote last time too, and it was different, but then now I'm only stuck with that one that I said last time. Oh no, but if something doesn't make sense, it's probably not true, which isn't really the point I'm making. But if I'm doing something and like I've hit a wall, I always take a break and I'm like, there's got to be something that I'm missing here. There's got to be like an angle that I'm just not seeing, and I need to be able to step away and come back to
And
it.
Perspective is everything.
And then usually you can see it. I hear you getting deep over there.
And I love learning through experimentation.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
So like with cooking, for example, like I remember when I first moved out and wasn't living with my parents, and my God,
Welcome to Amber's Cooking.
the atrocities I would make. But like now, as like I've had to prepare meals for myself forever because I'm old. Like you just experiment and find out, oh, well, this works, or these like flavor profiles go together or whatnot.
Flavor profiles. Come on, Gordon Ramsay.
Oh yeah.
She said it. Yes, it's so, and you make a lot of things that aren't edible.
It is true.
So what? You
I
go.
was going to say, I used to give them to my roommate. He did anything.
I feel like I might know the one. Yes. But we won't. I had something, but that was funny, and then I lost it. That's good. Okay, here's something else that I want to talk about with you. It's a term that I heard in a TikTok, but it's something that kind of got me away from teaching a little bit, because I noticed this in the education community quite strong. And I do, even now, like, big reason why I wanted to take at least a year break from it and kind of really change up my life there. And now that I'm getting into like the drag and theater community here in Calgary, I'm noticing it like a little bit, like it's there, but it's maybe at only 5% of what it was in teaching. And it was so prevalent in teaching, like 90%. And it's through the lens of this term that I saw in a TikTok, and it's called the Misery Olympics.
Ooh.
So, people get together, and I remember doing this so much, not only when I was a teacher, but when I was in university. And we would have done this together, but like where everybody's complaining.
Oh,
right?
yes.
And like, oh, I'm so miserable because of this and this and this, and here are all the things in my life. And it's the culture of being busy and overworking yourself and that hustle.
To
right?
distract yourself.
From what?
From the misery.
It's so like I've participated in it so many times as a teacher, where everybody sits down and they're just, well, I stayed at school until 8 p.m. last night, and I was up all night doing this, and all of these things in my life are so awful. And then it's like a competition. It's that culture of bragging about how much you're not putting yourself first.
It happens at my work all the time. And some people get mad at, or not mad, but like annoyed at me because they'll complain. And I'm like, well, why don't you just do like whatever that's going to make you not miserable? And then they're like, how dare you say something like that to me?
And why don't you think they're willing? Like, what's the block?
I don't know if it's maybe like a self-worth thing, or like, again, societal pressures of like, they feel like you have to do this in order to look a certain way or to be perceived a certain way.
And it does take, you said so many things that I want to talk about, because you made the distinction of being perceived in a certain way. But right, the way that you build your internal perception is almost sometimes a completely different.
Like, I mean, I've had to at work, because like, what working retail is like, like the toxic work culture.
I do.
So thankfully I have an office that I can just hide myself in, and I do all shift, because I'm like, I cannot take the negativity and like just the toxic garbage that is in the workplace.
And it's everywhere. I don't think that's super unique. I think everybody's complaining like that. Like, I hate that sentence of like, think about the people in your life right now. Like, how many people can you think of that are completely happy? Whatever that definition means. I don't know. But like
none. Like, I don't.
Like, I feel like I would know a few, but probably just on one hand.
Right. Like,
I think about that with relationships too. And like, how many people that in your life that are married should be married?
Not a lot.
Too real. Okay. And then something that I read too, which is really, really interesting because it just relates to what you just said about hiding in your office, is because if you want to combat that misery Olympics, if you're playing neutral, that yields the power to the dominant group. So if you're not like putting in that positivity to those people, then it just makes them stronger, and then it festers and gets worse. But then you're like, what are you, martyring yourself to provide optimism to all these grouchy people for your whole life?
And it gets exhausting because, like, you know me, I'm a pretty upbeat, like, bubbly person. So I go into work. Sickening, no? So I go into work, and that's just how I am. And sometimes it's exhausting because you just get that, like, pushback. And you're like, okay, never mind. I'll just go not be around people.
Yeah. It's wild. That's one of the best changes for me going from teaching to performing and doing this kind of stuff, is that you get to curate the people around you in a little bit more of a specific way than when I was a teacher. Because it is kind of like a mixed bag of who's in your life now.
Mixed bag of Muppets.
Yeah, because the children just show up, and now there's all these parents that you're expected to build community with, and maybe some of them don't think you should exist as a human person in the world as you are, and that's challenging.
That's awful.
It is, yeah. That's good. That's good. So don't hold up your achievements in life to some societally designed stencil.
Or because somebody else tells you that's what it should be.
Ugh. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts, Amber? Anything you think the listeners should know?
Well, I do. No, I'm just kidding.
Quirky bits or deep otherwise.
I do not. I think we got her.
We really did.
We're out here deep.
We did. We went deep. We're out here doing the most here on D-Talk. So thank you, Amber, for joining me.
Oh, of course.
Thank
you for having me.
Of course. We love your quirky bits. We love you here on the pod. Your friend of the show. Well, Amber, have you ever seen the show?
Oh, absolutely.
Why is she green? No, I'm losing steam now. Okay. So thank you for watching D-Talk. I've been your host, David, here, your safe space to get critical, be creative, and embrace your cringe. And until next time, goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay, Kylie, cut.
Cut. Marissa.
Kylie, darling, you can edit that together. We're going to Costco.
That is really very chic.
See if you really damn must. That is the chicest looking wind chime I have ever seen.
Thank you, darling.